The 2023 election may be over, but many analysts and groups are still looking into the electoral process. While the concluded election had a large turnout of voters, some individuals have been arrested for causing violence and trying to rig the process. With the United States of America and Nigeria sharing bilateral relations, with the former being one of the relocation destinations for many Nigerians, the U.S. government has imposed visa restrictions on the individuals who undermined the democratic process during Nigeria's 2023 election. Although some Nigerians have asked the U.S. government to reveal names, the United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, in a tweet, simply reiterated America's commitment to strengthening Nigeria's democracy and the rule of law. Well, joining us in the studio is lawyer, public affairs analyst Fred Nzako. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to be with you.
Welcome.
Right. And via Zoom is public affairs analyst Abraham Great. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me once again.
Good morning.
Now, the U.S. has imposed visa restrictions, and this has generated a mixed bag of reactions. I wonder what it is for you, because the U.S. says it is doing this to help strengthen our democracy. And the question for some persons is, do we need external persons to help us strengthen our democracy? Isn't that for us to do as a country?
Thank you. For me, it is very important to look at the timing of this. I wouldn't know why America choose to react at this point in terms of the fact that the current election in Nigeria has petitions in court. There is a judicial process. And I know that America is very strong on upholding the rule of law. Now, because there is no verdict or determinations on the actual election, I don't know, maybe America is doing this as a deterrent even to the judicial personnel themselves or to create a scare. The other thing to look about this is that America is actually not in the best of position right now to be able to impose bans on people, because American election, since 2000, I think from the election that brought in George Bush II with Al Gore, you see that there have been issues, there have been discrepancies, there have been anomalies. In 2016, you saw the intervention of foreign countries or companies like, the Cambridge Analytica and stuff like that in American election. The last election was seriously contested. There were some suppressions and stuff like that. So I don't know if America is in the best place around the world right now to flex that kind of muscle on a nation like Nigeria. And definitely, we're going to see some, relationship in terms of diplomacy. There may be some relationship strain with this action.
All right, Fred, let's come to the studio now. This is not the first time the United States is going ahead to impose visa restrictions, or even threatening to impose visa restrictions on Nigerians who have participated untowardly towards election here. I wonder what difference this makes, especially when they say a measure is being carried out to act or to serve as deterrent so that people don't do this again and all of that. When you look at what has been happening over the years, America's reaction over the years, and then how elections play out eventually, when you relate them together, what difference have you seen?
Well, you may not have seen much difference, but it is an indictment on our internal system, the failure of our own domestic system to punish electoral offenders. Nobody can tell us, Nigerians, that there were not a lot of infractions in the last 2023 general election. Nobody can tell us that there were not a lot of breaches that really needed the arm of the law to look into. And we have the law. But to what extent do we observe the law? The 2022 Electoral Act, with which we conducted the 2023 election, between sections 114 and 129, 15 whole sections all dealt with issues of electoral offenses. All manner of electoral offenses. It has covered all shades of offenses, starting from the primary, starting from the registration of the political parties down to the collation of votes. The question is, how much do we observe this provision of the law? And what America has just done is more or less an expression of the frustration of the international community in the failure of Nigeria to conduct election that will assuage the expectations of the people, at least satisfy your own people. The very moment you satisfy the people of Nigeria with credible, free, fair election, both in practice and in action, that even the optics will show that, oh, Nigerians are doing well. The very moment you do that, you would have satisfied the international community. And why is the international community interested? All around the world, electoral issues have caused problems in the stability of countries. And whenever there is such instability, whenever there is such problem, the rest of the world will hear it. The rest of the world will feel it. The rest of the world will bear the brunt. Look at what is going on in Sudan today. All the countries around Sudan are having problems contending with the upsurge of migrants that are running away from Sudan. Nigeria is, they say, to be over 200 million people. God forbid we have such challenge in Nigeria. The whole world will be unsettled. And it is important that to maintain international peace and dynamics of democracy, we must get it right, and we must continue to get it right, so that we shouldn't have such a scenario where there will be a crisis in Nigeria and the people will be running helter-skelter, and the rest of the world, it will create massive humanitarian crisis all around the world. And that is why the rest of the world is interested. And that is why they go ahead, not just to mouth it, they put their money where their mouth is. They are development partners in our electoral process, and they give money to conduct good election. If they tell you, if ANE gives you the statistics or the figure of how much they receive from international donors, you'll be shocked that it is real handsome amount of money. Now, if you collect money from such international donors, the international development partners, why wouldn't you use that money to ensure that our electoral process is upbeat? So that is why they are saying that. Of course, in the real practical terms, you can say it goes to no issue. One, because they have always been giving this warning over and over, and then they will never give you the list of the people. Even in this latest warning, there's no list, and people are saying, how do we now know who are the electoral offenders? So that we also internally begin to distance ourselves from them, or give them domestic sanction in addition to international diplomatic sanction. But the judicial system will not allow them, because you cannot. Sanction is punitive in nature. Anything sanction is punitive in nature. And the natural doctrine of natural justice, where you must hear the other party out, will hold your leg, that you can't kick such a fellow without hearing the fellow out. And that is why we are saying it is left, and they cannot try the people in America because they are in Nigeria. So
the offenses were in Nigeria. The offenses were in Nigeria. Against Nigeria.
Against Nigeria. So the least they can do, or the highest they can do, is to give this kind of warning. They know from their own internal intelligence gathering and from the images they pick and our own complaint here in Nigeria, they would have made up their mind who are involved. But they cannot come out and say, these are the people, because that would mean being judgmental.
Exactly.
And being judgmental means that they have not given the other party fair hearing for them to explain themselves. You may even be holding Mr. A without knowing that the person you saw in that image was the twin brother of Mr. A.
Okay, Fred.
So if you now begin to sanction...
Are you reminding us of 1999 when
Mark, these are all our historical experiences. So by the time you now... But it's only when you put such people through judicial process that you now confirm, oh, it is really Mr. A that committed the offense. And that such judicial process can only take place in Nigeria. So I think it is an indictment on our system and a call, an urgent international call for Nigerians to begin to get our electoral process right.